Hello and welcome. Let us continue with our lecture on mathematical math. In the last lecture, we have seen the formalism why the sine and cos should be bases of a Hilbert space in a given closed interval. So that is to say that for given any L2 function, one should be able to express in the basis of sine nx and cos nx. So that is called the Fourier series. Today, in this lecture, let us continue with some of the examples of Fourier transform. Let us continue with the lecture. This is part of course PH 3105 at IISER Calcutta. Before continuing with the lecture, let's quickly recollect the definition of Fourier series. Let f of x be an L2 function in the closed interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. Then it can be expressed as f of x is equal to I going from 0 to infinity n cos nx plus I going from 1 to infinity bn sin nx. The coefficient an and bn are basically the projection of the function on the basis element cos nx and sin nx, because we have seen that the sin cos nx and sin nx are orthonormal bases, forms a complete set for an L2 function in the interval minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. So an given as a projection of f of x on a cos nx, that is a normalizing constant 1 by pi, then integral going from minus pi to plus pi f of x cos nx dx. Here n is greater than or equal to 0. bn is given as f of x taken dot product with the sin nx, that is normalizing constant 1 by pi integral minus pi to plus pi f of x into sin nx dx for n greater than or equal to 1. Here we can see that the a0 is basically mean of the function in the interval minus pi to plus pi, that is given as a 1 by pi integral minus pi to plus pi f of x dx. So if we have a constant that cannot be expressed in terms of sine and cos, because sine and cos are oscillatory function. So if you have a constant, then you need to add them separately. That is represented by the constant a0. Often people also refer the Fourier series as a a0 added here separately, and then you have a I going from 1 to infinity an cos nx and bn sin x to make it symmetric with respect to cos nx and sin nx. So let's quickly look at the function sin nx to see how it satisfies the necessary condition. This gives a kind of an intuition how set of orthonormal bases can be seen in the interval minus pi to plus pi. So here we have given the interval from 0 to pi. Sine is an odd function, so it is basically minus of this whatever seen here in the minus pi to 0. So we don't need to plot them again. So here you have one of the first function, that is a sin x, that is given by this curve, and then sine basically has two roots on the boundary, and then it goes as shown here. When you have a sin 2x, it also has a 0 on the boundary because it has to satisfy the Dirichlet boundary condition, but it has a one more root in the middle, and then you have function given here. As you increase the n, you see that the boundary condition is still satisfies on the outer region. On the other hand, number of zeros or roots of the sine keep on increasing as of the frequency increases. If you have a more oscillatory function, you need a higher and higher frequency, that is larger and larger number of oscillation of a basis function. So the basis function should have all possible oscillation given inside that. So now you can keep filling in, and as you increase the frequency, basically it fills in this to make it any point possible to be represented. Of course, there is a scaling factor added to the function overall to completeness. This is how basically an orthonormal basis function would look if not sine, any other function, it would have more and more roots as you go to higher and higher orders, and you have a boundary condition satisfies at the both end, and then larger order you have a larger and larger frequency. But in this case, for each order the roots are equally placed. It is not necessary for orthonormal function to have a equally spaced roots as long as they satisfy the boundary condition, and the root of this basis function could be anywhere inside this domain. So let's continue with an example. This example is to represent a function f of x is equal to plus 1 when x is greater than 0, that is in this region, and then it is minus 1 in this region. It's basically a step function. Now, one of the important thing to understand here is the discontinuity does not matter for the Fourier transform. What we need basically f of x to be an L2 function. It does not say anything about discontinuity. Discontinuity and L2 are not connected because we know that sectionally discontinuous functions can be integrated without any issue. So in this case, you see that we are representing a discontinuous function in terms of basis function. It is L2 function, we know we can easily integrate it, and it is a constant. So this function is a very important function. It is often comes in the various boundary value problem. So one should pay a special attention to this example. You can think it as an electric plate kept at the potential minus V and plus V. So you can see naturally a step function appearing on the boundary. Under such problems, let us continue and try to solve this problem. We first need to find out a0, which is a constant. We have already seen that this function takes minus 1 and plus 1. Naturally, mean value of that is 0. So you can explicitly evaluate function is a minus 1 in the interval minus pi to 0, and then plus 1 in the interval 0 to pi. This integral would give rise to 0. So the mean of this function is 0. And also one need to pay attention to another important factor, whether function is an even function or an odd function. If the function f of x is an odd function, then the integral f of x cos nx is going to be 0, because you know that the product would be an odd function and the integral is going to go 0. On the other hand, if the f of x is even function, then the sine coefficient bn are going to be 0. So this is where you have to pay attention to the even and odd nature of the function. Only one of the series is going to contribute. For the mixed function, only both the term would appear. So in this case, we see that the function is an odd function. It takes the value of minus 1 from minus pi to 0 and plus 1 0 to pi. This is an odd function, and hence we have this integral is going to go 0. We do not have to really do this integral, because from the virtue of function being odd, this integral would be 0. The coefficient will not be 0, and the coefficient bn's are given by 1 by pi minus pi to plus pi f of x sin nx dx for n greater than 1. That is 1 by pi minus pi to 0 minus sin nx plus 1 by pi 0 to pi plus sin nx. Now these two gets added up, then we have a 2 pi integral 0 to pi sin nx. It is a straightforward to do this integral from 0 to pi. Result is going to be 4 by n pi for n is odd, and it is 0 for n is even. So we have these two values, depends on the odd and even nature of the function. On the other hand, combining these two conditions together, we can write the result as 4 by 2n plus 1 pi, and let the n going from 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now let's quickly look at plot of this function. So what actually we are plotting is 4 by pi, n is odd, or we could also simply include all of them by making this n replaced by 2n plus 1 and going to infinity sine nx, and then we can see how this function works. In this plot, what we have is the function itself given here, and then you have a sine nx. The series is given for the various terms here, capital N, which is taken to the very large number as 100. So you can see when n is 1, we have a sine x, simply sine x, and that is what we have plotted here. So this is a first order approximation of the Fourier series of the step function. You can see this is a nowhere good match. Another important point to see here is that the discontinuity being averaged out at that point, and this value is a mean value of the function at that point, and that is being taken. Add more terms and see what happens. Here what we have is an animation which quickly goes through, but you can see that now, as you can see that more and more terms are added, this function fairly well matches with the step function, except there are some wiggly things happening. The first thing to notice again here is that the function takes the mean value at the discontinuity, and second thing, at the discontinuity the function never seems to match, and that there is going to be higher and higher order oscillation happening, and that oscillation amplitude also seems to increase. So this is an artifact of the Fourier expansion. This is called the Gibbs phenomena. We'll not actually go into details into this. It's very easy to understand that when there is a discontinuity, the function tends to oscillate around that point, and the mean value is taken as a value of the function. And again here also same thing happens. This is again there is a discontinuity if you try to continue on the both sides. So this is what it looks like, and along this discontinuity also there is going to be oscillation, which slowly seems to going closer and closer to the value of the boundary, but however it never seems to match with the value of the function, because we can see that it is always there in the Fourier series. Let's continue with the one more example for the Fourier series. We see that it is not such a great difficulty to represent a continuous function in terms of Fourier series. It would very well match. The problem do happens in the case of function which is discontinuous. As long as it is L2, we can express them in terms of Fourier series. So we have seen in the case of step function, when there is a discontinuity, oscillates and tends to grow as we take larger and larger terms. So we continue with the more example and see the same thing happens or not. Let's take a simple function f of x is equal to x. It is basically a straight line passing through the origin x is equal to y is equal to 0. Often finds it difficult to represent a function as this in terms of the orthonormal series, because it is basically straight line. We have seen the constants are accommodated in the Fourier series. So let us look at this function. So this function doesn't have any discontinuity. It basically goes into line, except that in the case of Fourier transform, it is assumed that the boundary ends and you usually do not know what happens to the function. Under such case, it is assumed that the function is periodic in this region, and it often repeats the same value here. So outside your boundary, this is how the function would look. So this is from pi to 2 pi, and this is minus 2 pi to plus 2 pi. So this is one thing you have to keep in mind. So there is a discontinuity at this point, and you can see that Gibbs phenomena would be happening around here, and the function would naturally takes the value of 0 at this point, and there is naturally a 0 here, so that should not be any problem. Now again important to see that the function f of x is an odd function, again cos series will not contribute to this. So all the ANs are going to be 0. Mean value of this is 0. So A0 is also going to be 0. So we just have to find the Bn in this case. So let's compute the coefficients. Let's compute Bn. That is Bn is equal to 1 by pi integral minus pi to plus pi f of x sine nx dx. So what we have is x into sine nx. So this integral need to be done. I believe that you are all expert. This essentially can be done using the integration by parts. Result, what you get is a minus 2 pi by n into cos n pi. So please do this as a homework and do the integral and verify that this in fact is true. The value evaluated on the boundary, we get 2 by n into minus 1 to the power n plus 1 to accommodate the change in sign function cos n pi. F of x is equal to 2, n going from 1 to infinity, coefficient is a minus 1 to the power n plus 1 and 1 by n into sine nx. So this plot you can see again, first function is going to be sine x and then it would rapidly match with the straight line. And you can also see that the function takes the value of 0 on the boundary. There are two reasons for this. One is the mean value on the boundary is 0. Second, we have used the sine nx. It satisfies the Dirichlet boundary condition. So it should satisfy 0 no matter what you do. It is not going to be anything else because for all n, sine nx is going to be 0 because it satisfies the boundary condition minus pi n plus pi, and that is what you get. The value of the function is 0. No matter how many terms you add, they are all 0 on the boundary, and that is clearly reflected here. Let us continue ahead. The next concept is extending boundary. It is rather straightforward. We have seen that the domain for the sine and cos is minus pi to plus pi because they have to satisfy the boundary condition, and that boundary condition is satisfied only when the boundary is on minus pi to plus pi. However, for the practical reason, we might want to have boundary to be arbitrary, let's say minus L to plus L. Then we can simply scale this boundary. We can make a transformation from minus L to plus L to minus pi to plus pi, and that transformation would allow you to expand any function in the domain minus L to plus L in terms of a Fourier series. So Fourier expansion in this case is given as a f of x is equal to sum n going from 0 to infinity cos an into cos n pi x by L. You can see here it is basically scaling the interval from minus L to plus L to minus pi to plus pi. You can simply substitute pi here, and then you can see simply it matches with your standard Fourier series. And the same way you do for the sine series also, in this case series n going from 1 to infinity bn sine n pi x by L. So this way we have the coefficients given as an is equal to 1 by pi, in this case normalizing constant change because of the length of the interval, and then integral we have from minus L to plus L f of x into cos n pi x L dx, and same way bn are given as 1 by L integral minus L to plus L f of x into sine n pi x by L dx for n greater than 0. We have other interval, for example 0 to pi by 2 and 0 to pi. We have seen they also satisfy certain boundary condition so that they are also orthonormal. In such case we can map interval from 0 to L to 0 to pi and make a similar expansion, and this is how you use arbitrary given interval, map them to minus pi to plus pi or a other suitable interval along which the boundary conditions are satisfied, and then you can expand them in terms of the Fourier series. Of course, example here is to use an arbitrary interval. So we are using f of x is equal to x in the interval 0 to L and minus x in the interval minus L to 0. This is basically function mod x. It is a continuous function, but however its derivative is not continuous. Its derivative is basically a step function. In this case we do not expect any issue, as we have seen that as long as it is L2 function we can straight away do that. Again we see that this is an even function, so Bn are going to be 0, so only we need to compute An. A0 we can straightforward calculate. We need to find out the mean of the function that essentially turn out to be L by 2. The coefficient An can be computed by taking the integral. You can do it by yourself, and An is equal to minus 4 by pi square ln square for odd values of n, and n is even, then it is going to be 0. This is owing to the nature of the function. So finally we have a series. What we have is a f of x is equal to L by 2 minus 4 by pi square by L, some n going from 1 to infinity for all odd n's. So we have a coefficient 1 by n square and the function cos n pi x by L. So this should represent the function mod x. We can simply rewrite this as 2n plus 1, as I have told earlier, so that you can take n going from 0 to infinity. Let us look at the plot. What we have here is a function f of x given here, and then a0 or the constant or the mean which we have here. So as we take more and more term, you can see that this function would be slowly going here and match with here. So what should happen to the function here? So this is a question. If we continue this in the domain next, so what should be happening? Can give us some thought. First, let's see what happens to this series. So it seems to match here and doesn't go to 0 on this. So that means that it is not going like this. It is basically extended. It goes like this and it goes like this. So you can see how you can think what is a right way of expanding this beyond this interval given. So you see that the domain is minus pi to plus pi, and then here Gibbs phenomena doesn't really happen because the function is actually continuous, though derivative is not continuous. What we need is a discontinuity to have a Gibbs phenomena. These oscillations are not approximation. This is my hand going wiggly and not stable. Let's continue. Here we have a homework problem. Let us look at what is that. Give a Fourier series expansion of the function f of x is equal to 1 by 2 into L minus x in the interval 0 to L, and function is minus half into L plus x in the interval minus L to 0. So your job is to find out the coefficient a0, an, and make some rudimentary plots. You don't have to go to computer. You can go to computer, but however you have to eventually make the plot on the paper, and making the plots of these things are fairly important to have some insight coming from the drawing and looking visually, having some idea of how this series progresses. So you have to draw this function in the interval L is equal to 1. Because representation, Fourier representation means you have to find the coefficient a0, an and bn's. Let us go ahead. Let's look at one more example. Lecture seems to be full of an example. Now we have seen that the only important condition for a Fourier transform is an L2 function. Let us look at the Dirac delta function, which is an L2 function. However, it takes some crazy value. Here delta function is given at delta x minus x prime, that is the argument is x prime. So it has a unknown value at x prime, but otherwise it is 0 when x is not equal to x prime. So it naturally satisfies the L2 condition. We have seen that. We can actually remove this. We can say that the integral a to b f of x delta function dx is equal to f of x prime if x prime is in the interval a and b, otherwise it is 0. Now, instead of going through all sorts of imaginations and intuition and all that kind, it is very easy to do this integral, as we have seen that any integral involving the delta function is going to be very easy. So, a n's can be simply computed by integral minus L to plus L delta x minus x prime cos n pi x by L dx. Let's assume that our x prime is inside this interval, and when we take this integral, it's going to simply take the value of the function. So what we have is basically 1 by L is missing. So what we have is 1 by L cos n pi x prime L. Same way we get sine also, we simply get integral to be 1 by L sine n x prime by L. So this is what we have seen earlier. We have the series cos and sine which do represent the delta function. Let us look at the plot of this function. So here we have two series. One we have an odd series and another is an even series. We do not know the properties of a delta function to say whether it is an odd function or an even function. So we have two series here, but let us plot them. The final delta function is going to be sum of these two functions. So Dirac delta function is an L2 function, and orthonormal basis we have seen this need to be satisfied. So this is a condition which need to be satisfied, but we will come back to this condition a little bit later in a proper way. But this is a basic thing, that the orthonormality itself indicate that this should be also sometime we say the completeness of basis in a Hilbert space. So this condition need to be satisfied, and we see that how this is come about from the properties of delta function. So let's look at the plot of this. Here I have plotted three series. One is a cos and the sine and then sum of them. So you see that the cos function is an even function. So it represents the function both in the negative and positive side. Same way the sine is an odd function. So you expect the whatever it represented would have a feature of an odd function. And then we have a sum of those two which should represent the entire function. So let us look at this series. So you can see that the cos function is going here like this, and it is inside this and goes like this. So that is an even function which is represented. You can't see it because something else is plotted over this. Now we have a sine series which represents the odd function. So we have the function which goes like this, okay, and then which goes like this here. So that is the nature of function. So this is natural, we cannot avoid it. All the function represented by cos series will have to be even, and all the function represented by sine series have to be odd, and they have to be 0 here. And when we take very large number of terms, we know that this would eventually merge, and you would have a one point here like this for the cos, like this, and one here for sine, and that is what you get. And when you add them, you would all get a clean delta function. That is what we have here. The sum of sine and cos would have a delta function at x is equal to x prime. You see that I have taken x prime to be 0.5. You can take it any point here in the entire interval. Accordingly, the final result would be a delta function here, and there would be a cos series which is an even function, and there is a sine series which is an odd function, which would represent the entire delta function in sum of both these parts. So this is how orthonormal function should be representing the delta function from their orthogonal property or the completeness of the basis of the Hilbert space. Let me stop here and continue with some more aspects of the Fourier series in the next lecture.